The bustling bowels of ITV's Media City UK in Salford thrummed with the midday maelstrom of a Thursday taping in early November 2025, the Rowell's slate grey waters sloshing sullenly below as fans in woolen wraps and windbreakers queued with fervent fortitude outside the glass-fronted fortress, their chatter a cocktail of Oscar odes and Loose Women lore. Inside the brightly lit Studio 3, the set of Loose Women sparkled with its signature saucy intimacy, a curved crimson sofa arc under a canopy of cascading crystal orbs, the audience of 220, a vibrant blend of boomer broads with bingo cards, Gen X enthusiasts with faded vinyl sleeves, and curious cinephiles snapping pre-show selfies settling into terraced seats with programs fluttering like frantic finches, the house band warming up with a sultry sax riff that evoked smoky Soho speakeasies. Denise Welch, the 67-year-old firebrand with her tousled blonde bob and eyes that flashed like flint, kicked things off at 12:30 p.m. sharp, dressed in a bold burgundy blazer over a silk blouse that screamed unapologetic edge, her Geordie lilt launching into the opener with the precision of a panto dame, skewering the week's absurdities from royal baby name rumors to a viral clip of a politician's wardrobe whoopsie that had the crowd in hysterics. Flanking her were Colleen Nolan, the 60-year-old straight-talker in a cozy knit that hugged her curves, dishing on sibling rivalries. Ruth Langsford, elegant in a tailored tweed skirt suit, unpacking family feuds with forensic finesse. And Janet Street Porter, the 80-year-old iconoclast in a mismatched tartan ensemble, her gravelly growl grounding the gabfest. The panel's chemistry crackled like crackling hearth fire, Denise at the helm with her signature sarcasm, before she leaned into the mic with a wicked wink. Ladies and lads, we've got a thespian titan today, from seditious snarls to serious black spells, the one, the only Gary Oldman. The applause thundered like a Tinker Tailor trumpet, cameras panning to the wings where Gary emerged, all 67 years of chameleon charisma intact, his silvered summit styled in subtle spikes, clad in a classic charcoal blazer over a crisp white shirt and chinos that whispered of Wimbledon whites, his steely eyes crinkling with that eternal intensity as he waved regally to the roaring room, air-kissing the panel before easing into the guest armchair with a gentleman's grace. He was there to plug his memoir, Oldman's Odyssey, A Life in Layers, a reflective retrospective on 5 decades of cinematic shape-shifting and the 2018 Oscars ordeal that had tested his Teflon thespianhood. Fresh off a chart-topping release that had critics crooning over its candid confessions on craft, chaos, and cancellation culture, the fans whooped, many waving dog-eared Darkest Hour DVDs, while Denise quipped from the table, "Gary, darling, welcome back. You look like you just stepped off a set in the Med. Still batting away the bobbies, or has knighthood knighted you bulletproof?" Laughter rippled warmly, nostalgic and nurturing, as Gary chuckled that velvety baritone, launching into a light-hearted lore of his recent vineyard ventures in Tuscany, where he'd traded tour buses for trellises and tantrums for tannins, painting a portrait of peaceful posterity that had the audience all wing in unison. The conversation cruised comfortably at first, Colleen praising the book's unflinching take on the de survivor, love turning terror into testamenta, while Ruth nodded vigorously about legal legacies, Janet chiming in with her own brush with tabloid tempests. The studio's energy effervesced, the sofa's scatter cushions askew from animated anecdotes, floral festoons overhead swaying and the AC's zephyr like lazy laurels. But Denise, the panel's provocateur par excellence with a career card from Quarry corridors and celebrity Big Brother bunkers, couldn't resist nudging toward the nerve center Gary's lingering lawsuit against a tabloid over the 2018 Me Too misquote that had dared live, framing it as a jest at first. "Gary, your Odyssey notes the nightmare of the paps crawling like commandos. Tabloids boo-boo bungled your bachelor bliss. Do you damn the door kickers still? Or forgive the footage fiasco?" Knighted knight or knighted grudge? The crowd tittered tentatively, a blend of cheers and murmurs, but Gary's posture perked imperceptibly, his fingers interlacing like a barrier as he replied with polite precision, "Denise, grudge? That's the grist you grind. A forgiveness freeze, footage festers forgotten. The law's laurel-lifted labial lens lingers on lurid." More laughs, the segment sauntering toward ad break as the band bridged to a breezy bittersweet symphony, crew circulating with chamomile refills. Backstage scuttlebutt would spill later that Gary's camp had cautioned light on legal lore, but loose women's lore lay in unearthing unvarnished truths. A guests gambled on the gab, guardrails gossamer. As the lights lifted post-pause, the atmosphere amassed a free zone of friction, the devotees drawn in, oblivious to the tinderbox ticking. Janet pivoted to Tuscany plots, calling to charity courts, but Denise's daggers dangled, the fans fixated on the fault line, and then, with the stiletto subtlety of a soap siren, she slung the slur that slung the show into shambles. The brakes bomb dissipated into burgeoning buzz as Denise Welch doubled down with the dauntless daring of a daytime diva, her burgundy ensemble a burgundy emblem across the ellipse as she ensnared Gary Oldman with a gaze glittering with gleeful guile, the audience's anticipatory hush honing like a honed hone, hewn only by the hushed hum of Vec and the haphazard huddles of hidden handlers. Gary, Odyssey is nobly Raid's roaric call, resilience reborn. But let's lance the boil, that 2018 Circusa Paps cavorting on camera, your castle cracked wide. Tabloids trespass bungled your thespian bliss. Do you damn the door kickers still, or forgive the fiasco? Oscar Urkel or Oscar Grudge? The query quartered quietly at first, titters tiptoeing through the tears, some saluting the salients while others squirmed in seats, the co-hosts clocking the crux of Colleen's brow bridging in bemused bridge, Ruth's reticence rippling as Gary's countenance congealed, his blazer a bastion against brewing bile, those azure eyes alloying to adamant as they appraised the affront. At 67, the evergreen actor, etched by endless encores and egregious errors, absorbed the aspersion before articulating equanimity edged with ember. Denise, grudge? That's the grist you grind. A forgiveness freeze, footage festers forgotten, the law's laurel-lifted labial lens lingers on lurid, it landed with laudable latitude, eliciting affirming amens from the avant-garde and a sage salute from Janet, but Denise, driven by the dialogue's dynamism and her dossier of divisive dust from her 2020 lockdown lash-outs to her 2023 trends thusly delved deeper with disarming dispatch. Freeze? Farragut footage fueled the frenzy. Sir Gary's secret shame, screamed the screens. Bachelor pad pillaged, privacy pilfered. Did it dent your devout demeanor, or just your duvet? Faithful fans forgave foes, still feasting on the farce. Whispers wove through the wings like quilting wisteria, partisans pulsing at Denise's devotees drumming desks while Gary's cadre crined as the knight's knuckles ankles knotted on his knee, a rare rosiness rising in his refined ruddiness, his timbre transmuting to tempered tenor. Farce, that's the farce you foster, feasting on falsehoods for fodder. Denise, while I forge forward, devout, undented your dinner, dredged from dregs. The repartee recoiled into rift, a reverie rent as gasps grafted with guffaws, Ruth essaying an aside on accountability arcs. A tabloid's blunder bound by bounds? Yet Gary countered with crisp caveat, his voice vaulting like vaulted vault. Bounds? This bounds boundless, besmirching survivors for salacious scoops. Your feast, famine of fairness. Off-mic murmurs metastasized in monitors, Denise's director droning dial the drama, but the doyen declaimed with defiant decibel. Famine, feast on facts. A footage framed the fiasco your faithful fledged from fantasy. Knighted, or knighted by necessity, a bachelor's bane or blessing in drag, the grenade germinated grotesquely. The gallery galvanizing into ghosty gloating from the gallery, guardians gasping as Gary crested from his crevice, chinos creasing like crests, baritone booming like barrage. Drag, that's the drag you draping drivel on dignity. I've draped decades in decency, you've draped discord for dollars. If inquiry inquires only insult, inquire ado. The dynamo detonated. The devotee's deluge of discord as Colleen coaxed conciliation with a quip on quixotic quests, but Gary crested crescendo, clambering commandingly, his 5'9" stature surging like sentinel. Quests, this quest squashed a quagmire of quackery. Frames fracture your frame, fractured farce. Ruth reached reconciliation's rod, Gary, claspa converged the confessions. Yet Denise's dart darted, clasp, clear off. Gary chats the crucible, not cowardice. The detonator dawned, Gary clutching his cue cards with cavalier calm, careening toward the casement with celeritas clip that clattered like cavalry charge, evading the entreaties as the ensemble echoed, "Encore, Eldra Equity Encore." The threshold threshed with theatrical thwack, the thud tolling like tocsin toll, consigning the conclave to confounded cataclysm, the congregation in catatonic chorus, the walkout cascading into cyber-cyclone. The threshold's thwack thundered through loose women's lair like a libelous lightning bolt, the sofa suspended in stunned stasis as the audience's susurrus surged into symphonic squalk. He hightailed Denise's dagger, a cascading from the crimson cushions to the coffered canopy, hosannas for Gary's chivalry clashing with Denise's devotees in a daytime Donnybrook that dazed the dais. Denise Welch, the unyielding umpire, unearthed equanimity with an eyebrow arched in an eruption of earthy copyright clad to the unyielding unspoolers. "Blimey, Lady S. That's nightly nerve on parade." Gary Oldman, hightailing like a holiday heat. Hats off to the living legend of litigious levity. Applause pattered patchily, Colleen cloaking a chortle behind her cue while Ruth recoiled in reticent rumble, Janet jotting judicious jabs in the jam as stagehands swarmed like scene shifters at shambles, realigning risers and redistributing ruibos amid the receding roar. Denise, post-plunge, perched with puckish poise, her burgundy blazer uncrinkled but her aura ablaze. "What?" he knighted first. "I'm just a jouster." Yet the equilibrium evanesced into entropy, Denise darting to downtime with a bandblast of Living Doll, the control coven convulsed in convocation. A directors declaiming spliced the scandal snippets, summoned the switchboard. While overlords upstairs orbited the Odyssey's orbit, social synapses sizzling like synapses in siesta. Oldman walks out. Loose women rocketed rapturously in rocket's red glare. Bystander broadcasts besieging Be Real and Bluesky with roar replays, vivisected by variety vanguards and vice versa. Fires from cafe copyright cabals to cocktail circuits. Welch whacks the wizard adept Thor dagger? One dissector divined, while woke warriors wailed, weaponized Ouija stand with Sir Gary. ITV's ingress ignited with influxes, a infusion of indignation and intrigue from idled influencers to incensed insiders, potentates parsing the potpourri of peril and profit. Concurrently, in the corridor's cloistered crannies, Gary careened to his green room like a crusader mid-crusade, manager in tow with mobile mayhem and minders mustering a moat, that harpies harangue. We're honing heroism from the hubbub, he huffed, loosening his blazer like a breastplate buckled. His agents stand by signal soothing from the sidelines. "Steady, good." The London lights await. Exteriorly, his understated Audi awaited amid an ascending aperture of apertures, strobes stuttering like stuttering suitors. Aboard the set, the sequence staggered forward with strained sparkle, Janet joying on judicial japes while Colleen cooed over charity chords, but Denise's dart started with dauntless delight. Her Darjeeling dashed with uncommon dash. Ensemble echoes evoked the epicenter. Schedulers had sketched sprightly spotlight on Survivor, hazily harmonized with Gary's courtiers for facetious foray, but the chameleon's crisp credo on closure fouled Denise's funny fuse fatally. As the hour hastened to horizon, Denise dispatched with a defiant dimple, "Cheers to the chair I've area recall. Rigor refines, but rupture, it reveals." Revel in revelation. The throng trickled out in twittering trance, mobbing the lobby for lurid live streams under the ITV iris, some streaming to squad chats, others ogling outside where Gary's carriage careened into crimson dusk. Blocks away, in a Salford nook nestled in nooks, his confidant convened via conduit amid their clan's capers. Niece's needlework natterings, nephew's netball nips. Her timbre tranquil, you quip the quarrel. Gary, a rarity's your repertoire. Gary's croon crackled with rue, rattled by the riptide. Dear memoirs, the melody, not this melee. Their enclave, an eddy of ease insulating the interview imbroglio, infused with interlude idle. By evening's embroidered etchings, the etchings etched, BBC looped the lunch. The Telegraph told Man's abrupt adieu. Even Elton's envoy emojied an arched brow. Darkest hour rebounds. Gary's relay anger repartee from Ringo. Rumbled a row, rare nods from Nolan. Nonetheless, in the Audi's austere hush, he ruminated the rumpus, a reel of resentment and relief revolving. Overkill or Oasis? The actor cued a curation of cathartic carols, the cityscape smudging into sunset salve.